to start. Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Simon, and this is the first of a series of webinars we're doing from Evendo called Inside Events. My role in the company is to look after our partners and our supply chain, and we're going to be sharing our expertise, give you some tips and opinions on particular topics. Now, as we move into the digital world for events, we are seeing lots of our customers ask us questions about how to create events. So we've decided to create a series of webinars on particularly relevant topics where we are inviting expert guest speakers from around the events industry, from suppliers to distributors. And the aim is to help you do better events. So today is our very first one. And the title is Boosting Morale and Productivity Using Remote Team Building. So we're expecting it to last about 30 minutes, and we've designed it for people who are remote workers, but also people who are managing remote teams. So it has two kind of levels. And this is our general agenda. So really, we're looking at what issues we have currently with remote working. Now, a lot of us now, since lockdown, are having to work remotely. So it's particularly relevant. We're going to look at what actually is remote team building, how to adapt into what is becoming the new world, the new way of working, the benefits of remote team building, and how to use it moving forward. Now, you will see on the right-hand side, there's a chat panel. If you've got any questions during the webinar, please let us know, and we'll try and answer your questions, and we come back to them later on in the webinar also. Also, if while you're online, if you have a particular challenge or a particular topic you'd like to chat to us about for future webinars, please let us know and we'll add it to our list. Now, today's guest speaker is Johnny Edzer. He's someone I've known for a good few years now, and he's the founder and director of Wild Goose Events. Now, they are experts in virtual and remote team building, and we brought along today because we thought he was the most relevant for our suppliers, and they really did some great things in the industry. So hi Johnny, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Lovely to be here today. Thank you for inviting me along, Simon.
Nice, a pleasure. So what I'm going to do, Johnny, I'm going to flick to the first slide and we'll just take it from there, shall we?
Yeah, perfect.
Actually, no, first, tell me about yourself and Wild Goose.
So I am founder of Wild Goose. We've been going for 16 years, and everything we do is with technology. So we're all about using technology to engage teams. Now, most of our business historically has obviously been where we get people together face to face, where we ping people into a location, a room, anywhere around the world. We have offices here in the UK and also the US. And we're very used to, like I say, delivering events all around the world. We also have an extended network of licensees who use our technology in over 25 countries. So that's kind of where we traditionally have worked. But the virtual and remote team building has obviously been building slowly over the last 12 to 18 months, but obviously has very much come to the fore during this time now. So we've also been adapting like everyone else to this new environment. It's been exciting, very fast paced, and lots going on. Okay, perfect. So we're going to look at first the kind of common issues that you see really for remote workers. And I think I think we're all seeing these kind of things. Increased anxiety, isolation. And what kind of things are you seeing, John, as well from your customers? Yeah, I think the big thing people are missing, for the feedback we're getting, is around lack of human interaction, and ultimately what impact that will have on individuals' mental health. I'm lucky. I have a wife and 2 children, so I've got company at home. I can have a change of scenery. But people in my own team and many of my friends live alone. So I think that lack of human interaction is something that we all really miss. The other thing as well is just about making sure you're communicating effectively, not losing sight of what your company culture is, and those values and that communication of everything that is important, that makes your business unique. And those things are are big challenges. Obviously, there is a lot of anxiety around as well.
Yeah.
Most people know someone who've lost their jobs or been furloughed, and people are anxious about that. You know, it is something that is in people's minds. So I think there's a lot of emotions flying around at the moment. There's a lot of things in people's minds.
And I was chatting to a friend last night, and they were saying that they're finding it really hard that now they're working from home. There is no boundaries now. So you know, normally they leave work in the morning, they arrive in the office, they leave the office, and then that's where work can almost stop to a certain degree. Whereas now they're at home all day long, and when they turn off, and almost every day now it's the same. There are no weekends. I think a lot of people find that really hard, really, aren't they?
Yeah, you're right. There's no barrier.
Yeah,
boundary rather between work and home life.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys are the experts really in remote or virtual team building. So can you give us a bit more information on what it is and really how it works, really?
Yeah, so for us, it's about bringing people together. That's our mission, is about bringing people together. Obviously, at the moment, we have that in sort of virtually in brackets at the end, but it's all about bringing people together. And there's a lot of solutions out there that are cropping up where people have seen opportunities to go online using all the solutions that are out there to basically allow teams to bond and build and maintain that communication and that human contact in the way that we all need to do on a daily, weekly basis. So we've been developing and enhancing a lot of our technology around fitting in with this new way of working. And that's really about how people interact with each other, creating solutions that get people onto calls together to play games, play team solutions that can either be customized around a company. So lots of development got into different solutions that really bring people together, get them communicating and collaborating. Because that's the hardest thing, I think. That's the big challenge at the moment, is how do you communicate? You're so used to just leaning over the desk and talking to someone. We want to make sure that the games that we have and the event solutions that we have are very reflective of what people are really missing, which is that human contact, ability to collaborate, work together, have a bit of fun.
And I suppose really, I mean, being purely online and virtual, there's no barriers to size either, or location. So if you have offices in France and the UK, you bring them all together.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean that's a real benefit, and I know we're going to go on to benefits in a minute, but it does allow you to really. I think it's a change of perception. I think if I'd said even 6 or 8 weeks ago to a client, right, we can run an event for you on Zoom using video conferencing, I think people would have looked at you as if you're losing your mind a little bit about what are you thinking. Whereas now, actually, a team activity doesn't just need to include the people in your immediate office, because of course you can suddenly jump online and be in a team with everyone all over the world. And we've already seen that. We've already done that with teams so far, even in the last 2 or 3 weeks, where they've gone, well, actually, rather than just have an activity while our own office, let's include the Paris office. And there's a question that's coming about, does team building as a practice work for teams of any size? Yeah, I mean, I guess our average size is probably 40 to 50 people. And the way we've been working, we use Zoom actually, which has had a bit of mixed press recently because of some of the security things, but they've done a lot of work on that, and we found it to be a very effective solution because it allows you to push people out into breakout rooms. So we bring everyone together into a main session, we brief them, and then we push them out, and they're playing a game on their app where they have to work together as a team to answer questions. So everyone's logged in to a device with the game on it, and they have to answer questions, complete challenges as a team. So even if you've got, we've got a couple of bigger events next week for 150 to 200 people, they'll still be in smaller teams of 5 or 6.
Scalable.
So it is really scalable. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent.
Thank you, Francis.
Let's have a look. So I mean, I think we've mentioned already that we are in a very new way of working. I mean, I'm guessing there are lots of people out there that are remote workers full time. I think it's the sheer scale, isn't it, recently of how many people in the UK and the rest of the world that are having to adapt.
Yeah, And I think even most remote workers before now would have probably had some human contact with their clients, or sorry, with their colleagues, even if it was once a week or once a fortnight or once a month. But of course, this issue now has been compounded by the fact that we're also being isolated from a social perspective as well, aren't we? So it's not just about work; it's the whole. We're all in with this at the moment. So we've all had to adapt, and the biggest adaptation that we've made with the solutions that we've developed is about how do you go from having a team of people together, perhaps completing a challenge on one device like an iPad, to getting people being in separate locations, all being on their own device, but still being able to work together. So that's been the big tech development that we've had to adapt to.
Yeah, and I think it's getting over that reduced face-to-face amount. You're not seeing your colleagues as much. You're not seeing your boss so much. So it's that constant interaction. Really, I think people are really missing, aren't
they? Yeah, absolutely. And it is just about having. In fact, we ran an event this morning for someone, and one of the nicest messages people said, they said it was the nicest. It's the most fun they've had, the most fun hour they've had in lockdown so far. They said it was just so lovely just to be with their colleagues in a fun environment, and just to do something different. That bit of banter, that bit of camaraderie.
I mean, I think you mentioned before about how you have staff of your own that live on their own. And I'm guessing there's a lot of people out there that the office plays a big part in their daily life, and all of a sudden that's now gone. And if I think we're both in the UK, we're in London, but lots of international staff where most of their daily interaction is going to be with office staff.
Yeah,
that's a big loss.
Absolutely, it's been a big challenge.
Yeah, and also I think company culture. We are all now so distant, aren't we?
Yeah, and it's really important about how you maintain that, because and again, some of the solutions that we see working best are the ones where people can really tailor their content to be reflective of their company culture, because it's important that you maintain that. It's a much easier thing to maintain when people are all in one place.
Yes.
Maintaining company culture is harder when people are separate, because you invariably you don't know what everyone's up to, and I don't mean that in a sort of big brother way. You're not aware. So if someone's having a bad day, or you want to support someone, it's much harder to work that out now.
Yeah.
When you speak to them maybe once or twice a day, and not always on video calls, you can't even look into the whites of their eyes. It's
that's true. Yeah.
It's having that nurturing culture where you can look after each other, and it is harder. So I think having time where you do come together like this is really important for team maintenance.
Because certainly our CEO Casper, often on a Friday, he will just bring in some wine, and we have wine at 4 p.m. on a Friday. Now that's gone, so we have to do things virtually now. And I think these kind of tools.
Provide your own wine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, most days really, but okay.
Someone's asking a question about how would you recommend, Costas again, how would you recommend I keep in contact with my team in case they are anxious? Should I have one-on-one sessions also? I think, I mean, certainly from my perspective as a team, we still maintain, we have a daily huddle as a team, which we do at about 2:30 every day, because we've got a couple of people over in the States. We do it to fit in with Eastern time as well. And we have those daily huddles, but also I'm continuing to have those one-to-one sessions. It's continuing to have that face-to-face time as much as possible. And I think try and speak to people on don't always just phone them. Maybe, we use Google Suite. So every meeting we set up automatically has a video conference in it. Try and do the video conference and actually look at someone, because I think you can tell, you're much more aware when you're actually speaking to someone, how someone's actually feeling. And that's kind of, I guess, some of my tips around that.
Okay. And are you using your own games as well for your own staff? Are you kind of practicing what you preach? And
I'll tell you what, we're tested out. we test all our games, and and it's good fun. It's a nice way of doing it. It's one of the perks of the job, I guess, is that we can have a bit of fun. James Black's throwing a question about how you gauge engagement from those that may be less confident in talking on mic. Yeah, I think that's a good question. Actually, funny enough, it's one of the things we talked about when we were designing some of the solutions that we've come up with. Is not everyone is as confident in this environment. I think I think what's good about this, the activities that we've designed, is that you don't have to be someone who's overly confident. You don't have to be someone who's got to take the lead. The games are very inclusive, but they're not necessarily solutions that are going to make everyone have to be standing up and, you know, being a bit silly or anything like that. It is really important from that side of things. People can take part, but they can invariably step back a little bit if they want to. But what's nice is everyone's got everything on their smartphone, so they can be taking part and contributing without necessarily having to take the lead. And I think that balance is really important.
Okay, oh, nice. Okay, so should we move on to the benefits, really?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't think virtual events, and I'm talking, I guess, broader virtual events, not just team building. I think virtual events will grow. I think the situation. I mean, no one really knows how long we're going to be in this situation for, and speculation ranges from 3 months to 12 months of varying degrees of social isolation and social distancing. So anything would be mere speculation. But I think what will happen is that the change will have been accelerated around technology, and I think that's what see the biggest change in the environment in which we're in. People are going to be very used to working in this way and interacting with each other in this way. And I think companies will also be questioning the putting on live events, not in its entirety, because we all need human interaction. But I do think there's going to be a way of being a bit more hybrid about it. So if you've got a company conference where you're going away for 2 or 3 days, and there might be a team element to that, but obviously lots of company presentations, that's really difficult for parents who have got children, especially if both parents are working. So I think the increase in virtual activities allows people to take part in virtual events or in company events without necessarily having to be there. And I think that's a really important thing that's going to change. I think that's sort of that move towards hybrid events where there may well be a live element, but there'll be absolutely a virtual element. And therefore you get increased attendance and engagement, because you can actually get the whole company there. Unless someone's actually on annual leave, there's no reason why someone couldn't be there.
Yeah.
Even if they can't physically travel there because they've got to drop their children off at nursery or something along those lines. So I think that's a really important benefit of virtual events. Obviously at the moment it is about boosting morale, and I think that is that's a really important, quite hard thing to measure, but I think team maintenance and team morale is an important criteria, especially when probably most people are working in smaller teams at the moment. They've potentially got more workload. They're working harder. I know, speaking for my team, we've got fewer people now than we did have, and we're working harder as a result, because there's still lots of work to get done. So a lot of people will be in that state. Boosting morale is important. Reducing costs is again a really interesting one around virtual meetings, just generally, and not just now but in the future as well, because certainly the charges that we place on these events is lower. We're not having to travel, we're not having to drive up the M1 or get on a plane over to France to deliver an event. So the actual cost is going to be lower, and also the associated cost, because when you get your teams together for a team activity, it's not just the team activity that's part of the cost. You've got the beers in the pub afterwards and the social side of it. So they can become very expensive events, and that's not to say that's not worthwhile, but it may mean that you do it twice a year rather than 6 times a year, whereas actually you could do. We're finding we get companies going, actually at the moment we want to do something once a month, and because the cost is much lower than we used to, we can afford to do that. We can do something once a month with our team, and not just with our London team. We can involve the overseas team as well. So it becomes a very cost-effective solution, because the technology allows for that to happen. I mean, I ran an event last week in Florida. I'm running one this week in New York, and I'm potentially running one next week in Singapore. That's crazy, isn't it? But it's and I'm not leaving my house, so it's that's kind of I guess an insight into how some of the benefits of this, for how flexible it is. Obviously it's better for the environment. I think that speaks for itself. travel. We all talk in this industry about how do we reduce our carbon footprint. Well, hey, you know what? It's happening right in front of us now. In every walk of life. You know, our carbon footprint has massively reduced. What was I reading yesterday about airlines? You know, 750 flights went out in the last 4 weeks compared to, is it in the last week compared to normally 7,500. So, you know, the number of flights, 10% of flights going out compared to normal. So everything about this situation is better for the environment, and virtual activities and virtual events will contribute to that as well.
Yeah.
And also less time away from the office, because when you do an activity, you know, people can jump in, do it for an hour, jump out. They're not traveling, you know, so a 1 hour activity is a 1 hour activity.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a 4 hour activity because you've got an hour and a half travel each way. So I think, you know, there's a productivity element in that as well. You know, whilst our teams are driving around, that's stressful for people, but also that's kind of downtime. It's time that isn't very usable for our teams in terms of building value in what we do. So I think there's a lot of benefits, and I think it will only get better, and it will only grow, and it will only become more normal. And I think that could only be a good thing.
Yeah. We've got a question from James Black again. What kind of group activities can you do online to boost morale if you're a small company without a budget?
Well, there are quite a few activities. Actually, do you know what? I saw a really nice one this week. It's not from my company. It's and it was called, bear with me, I'm just going to get it up because one of my colleagues messaged it to me on Friday. So I'm literally just looking on my Slack. And I must say, if you don't have Slack, actually, that's another really good thing for internal communication. We've been using it anyway, but it actually is a really good tool for internal comms. I'm going to look. I can't find, what's the name of it? I can't find the name. Oh, there we go. Right, icebreaker.video. I'll tell you what, I could probably paste this link on there. It's a really nice little tool, actually. It was free to download, free to play. I think I can paste it. There we go. Look at that. Icebreaker.video. There's some nice little things in there that people can play. And it's got nice little games where it just brings people together. Yeah, I just literally had to play around with it Friday, so I can't vouch too much for it, but I just thought it looked really neat. It was really simple, and it would be perfect for small companies. So you're welcome, James.
I know we're working with you guys, but we're also looking at things like virtual escape rooms. We're looking at the health side of it as well, so nutrition and those kind of things. And we're seeing lots of things moving virtual. Even a virtual cocktail masterclass where they basically send you out all the ingredients and you do it together as a team.
No, there's loads of innovation out there. And I think what's brilliant is, and we found this as well, because obviously, we've been trying a few new things with some of our clients recently, and people are pretty understanding as well, which is nice because, you run an event and people are like, that's great, or, you should try doing that a little bit differently. So I think it's quite a nice environment for innovation. Everyone appreciates we've all been thrown this massive curveball, and that we're all working out how to make it work. So I think that is really encouraging innovation around a number of different team activities, things that you would never have thought of doing before. People they're kind of up for it now, aren't they? I think we've all changed our perception of what that looks like. So I think you will see innovative solutions that, like I say, 6-8 weeks ago, you might have sort of chuckled at, but now, are becoming very normal. My wife's a personal trainer. She's obviously now delivering all of her solutions online and doing daily classes for people, which is fantastic. Which again, you wouldn't have thought would work 8 weeks ago, but suddenly seems perfectly acceptable now, and people are getting on with it and actually seeing the benefits of it. So it's interesting. Another question from Costas we got in here. How frequent should teams come together for morale boosting activities? Can you do it too much or too little? I guess that's a difficult one because there's probably no correct answer on that. I mean, it's interesting. A really nice comment we got last week from an event is someone came back to us and said, "You know what? I was feeling a bit zoomed out. I think zoomed out is going to become a verb, isn't it? Soon, zoomed out. All I've done is been on Zoom calls all day, and then I saw this team activity which was also on Zoom." His feedback was very positive. He's like, it was brilliant, actually. It was much better, But I think there is a danger that, we're all spending a lot of time online. and actually people want to have a break. So I don't know, once a week, once a fortnight, once a month, there's probably no right or wrong answer on that, and it's probably about gauging from your teams. I mean, we're having daily calls, and our Friday calls are at the end of the day where we have a drink, and we sort of just relax a little bit more. It's only half an hour. Sometimes we play little games, or we just go around the group and ask, what's been the highlight of the week, or what's the funniest thing we've done. So I think it's a really difficult one. I would certainly say, like I say, once a week or once a fortnight probably is really good if you're doing that. Sure. I think.
Yeah. Okay. And then we're going to really, what do you think will happen moving forward now? Because obviously we're in a time of unprecedented change. But I'm sure you're expecting there to be more virtual events for the foreseeable future, really.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like I say, I think adversity drives innovation and drives change. We're all creatures of habit, and I think it takes 20 odd days to change a habit. So well, we're kind of past that now, aren't we? So people's habits will and have changed. So I think an innovation and the technology solutions will get better. We'll all get better at using them, so it'll become a more seamless experience. It's not going to go away, because I think, again, this is my opinion, just based on what I've read. I think we're in for a fairly unsettled 12 months, of up and down, and, things are going to change. I think lots of companies will be questioning, their office space. Crikey, we spend how much on rent? We could work a bit more remotely. Working from home on a Friday was sort of used to be, people used to look down the nose at you a little bit, didn't they? That, oh, you're working from home on a Friday, whereas that's changing. So I think virtual events, that ability to communicate more regularly with your teams is going to be a big shift for everyone as we continue through this period and continue out of this period. I think that those habits won't suddenly change.
I think it'll be a slow opening up, and even then, how many people want to go to the office full time? How many people want to move around the country, go to different offices or different countries? So it's going to be a while, isn't it? It really is.
I really do think so, and it won't suddenly go back. Elements of it will go back. I mean, I'm sure when the local pub opens up, we'll all be in there straight away. So things like that will change very quickly, because we're all desperate for that bit, aren't we? But I think work habits will take longer, and like I say, these things will, this period will change how we work, and it will change how we use virtual tools to replace human events and human contact, and ultimately, in our space, team building, it will change.
Yeah. So we've got another question here from Krista. Can you use team morale boosting for new teams created after our session started?
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny, actually. I've got 2 or 3 friends who've started jobs since this period has started, so they've not actually met their team yet. Wow. Obviously in real life, they've met them virtually. You've also we've had a few clients asking us about team activities that can be used for staff that have been furloughed, because again, that's another interesting challenge, isn't it? If you work for a company where you furloughed huge numbers of your staff, you're still allowed to involve them in training and elements of that. And if you want to use games and events to interact with them, to keep people engaged and make them still feel that they're part of a team, then that is still something that people are asking for, and they still want to see that. So I think absolutely, team morale is relevant for everyone, whether you've in a job where you're working hard because you've got fewer staff, or whether you've been furloughed and you're wondering about what the future looks like. Absolutely, I think it's a great way. I mean, if you're looking specifically, Krista, at for new teams that have literally been created, I think it is about team bonding. I mean, let's be honest, when we all have a new member of staff join, it's probably not long before we end up going to the pub with them for a drink, or we end up going and doing something, or going for a sandwich at lunch. So I think that human interaction is something that naturally happens, and it's important, because of course with new teams, forming that culture is challenging as well. That is getting that embedded. So anything that helps to build culture, get people onboarded quickly, orientate them with the company and how it works, even though they're remote, is going to be really valuable, because otherwise, when do you get that chance? You may not get that chance for a couple of months, 3 months, who knows? So yeah, I would say it's important in every segment of your business.
Yeah, I mean, it also may be that there may be a new team structure, so it may be similar stuff, but actually doing different roles. Maybe half the team has gone, so everyone has to do different things. So yeah, it's
working with new people, working with different people. That is ultimately what team building is in its essence. It is about building your team. It's about getting people out of their natural environment and working together in a different way, like usually in a slightly light-hearted way, or with a bit of purpose, where the shackles of your everyday work are not there, and people can then get to know each other and actually understand that oh, Johnny from accounts isn't, he's actually, crikey, we support the same football team, or actually we both got a dog, or we both like baking. That's an important part of team building. That builds relationships that make it stronger, make teams stronger, and that is a really important part of team building. That is, that's relevant whoever you are, wherever you are, and at any time. So, and we've got a question here from Zane. How would you onboard a new team to a big team effectively? How could they experience the true culture? That's a good question.
It's a new team member, I think it was talking here, aren't we?
Yeah, new team to a big team effectively. How could they experience the true culture? We've done some interesting projects for people, more about sort of this sort of thing around workplace orientation. So we've got some big contracts with clients who use our solution to onboard new members, whether it's a location for familiarization, which obviously at the moment wouldn't be quite so relevant, or whether it's a quiz about the team, because you can have you can build a quiz that's tech based. People download it to their phone, and they play a game about their team, which contains fun facts about the team and things that they like doing and things like that. So I think things like that are very real solutions that we've built, and others will have done as well, so that people can start to feel part of a team and quickly. Because I mean, it'd be quite difficult, wouldn't it, if you're a new member of staff and you're joining a company now? I mean, I'd imagine that'd be quite intimidating, wouldn't it? Yeah. I mean, moving to a new job can be nerve-wracking at the best of times, let alone now, where you don't really get a chance to get the measure of people in the same sort of way. So I think activities that humanize people, that break down barriers, that get people working together, playing together, I think are the way forward at the moment.
Another one here. Do you think morale boosting improves the productivity of remote teams?
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess I would say that. Absolutely. I think if people are more productive and people are more inspired and people feel more of a company when their morale is high, people do not like being in a bad place from a morale perspective. You always hear it, don't you? Your morale's low at the moment. Productivity is best, absolutely best, when people are working for each other. They've got good, strong relationships. They buy into the values and the culture of the company. They buy into the vision of where it's going, and they can see what the future looks like. And that's hard. I mean, that's hard at the moment, right? Because how none of us know what our business is going to look like in 12 months' time. If we're being really honest, we've probably got some ideas of what we'd like it to look like, but no one really knows. And I run my business, so I'm probably the most secure person in our business, because it's my business. So if I work in our business, you getting that sort of that message across of what is the vision, where are we going, so people don't see these times as being hard times. They see it as an opportunity. They see and about that is about good communication, building morale, people buying into what it's about, feeling confident about the future. And invariably, people are more productive. That doesn't necessarily mean they're working harder. They're just working smarter. They're buying into it. They're focusing on the right things. And I think anything that brings your teams together to get that message across, is a positive thing. It oils the wheels, taking you in the direction, whatever direction that may be, that you need to go in at the moment.
Yeah, very good point. Okay, so I think we're pretty much out of time. Has anyone's got any more questions? So let's give it another minute or so. But so we have another one coming up next week, which is going to be on how to coach your remote teams. So join us next week if you want on the 28th, again at 2 p.m. So Johnny, I want to say thank you to you. It's been great to see you again. And we'll put this up on the aboutevendo.com website, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Johnny. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Simon. Thank you.
Cheers, bye.